What's going on, everyone? I'm your host, JT, back to you guys with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I want to talk about this Ed Reed and Bethune-Cookman situation. Now, unfortunately, if you haven't heard the news, Bethune-Cookman, Ed Reed, the negotiations of him becoming their head coach of their football team didn't fall through. Ed Reed had some tirades that he made on social media about the conditions of his office, certain situations on campus that weren't up to par, that he wasn't happy with. And here's the thing, okay? How Ed Reed went about the situation, yes, it could have been handled a lot better, but him going to social media about these problems was the right thing to do. You see, these HBCU alums, right? They go on Twitter and they talk about how proud they are to be a HBCU graduate, right? And they give you all these statistics about HBCU grads and whatnot. But then what they don't talk about are the certain issues that comes with going to these HBCUs. And their excuse is, well, you should understand that these issues come with going to a HBCU. They're underfunded. They don't get a lot of support from the state. Okay, that's understandable. But at the same time, there's no reason why Ed Reed should be walking into a dirty office. It doesn't take $100,000 to clean a man's office. Okay? I could clean his office. All you need to do, go to Family Dollar, get you a little bucket for $3, get you a little mop for $5, get you some Fabuloso, you feel me? Get you a couple of some Scotch pads, Brillo pads, whatever you call them. Get you a couple of rags, or maybe if you got some old dirty t-shirts that you don't use, you feel me? Get you a couple of, those Febreze bottles, the disinfectant, all that should be $20. That's simple. It only takes about one or two people to clean a man's office. You see, yes, Ed Reed probably understood the situation that he was walking into. But at the same time, it doesn't take a lot of money to show some common decency. And yeah, people want to say, well, these PWIs, they don't care about you. They don't give a damn about you. Yeah, they may not give a damn about you, but at least they're going to make sure that your office is clean when you walk in. At least they're going to make it seem like they care about you. At least they're going to welcome you. And you see, here's the thing about these HBCUs. Like, they're really good at selling you the appeal of going to a HBCU, right? And I'm not saying this to knock HBCUs. There are a lot of benefits to going to a HBCU. You feel me? But coming from somebody who knows a lot of people who attend HBCUs, a lot of them would agree that outside of, the culture and being with your people, HBCUs aren't that great of an experience. The administration, they don't welcome you. They have a lot of attitudes. They often have, frustrations that they kind of take on students. And this isn't to say all HBCUs act this way, but this is just, the overall consensus, at least what I see on Twitter when I hear, how these HBCU people treat their students. You feel me? And yeah, you can say, well, JT, the same thing goes for all universities. Okay, yeah. But when you go to a HBCU and your main selling point is, come to a HBCU so you can be with your people and you can be with your community, I should feel welcome. You get what I'm saying? I shouldn't feel hostility. My people should feel really happy when I come to them with issues. They should be happy to help me with problems. Students shouldn't have to go on Twitter and talk about how they have emails that aren't being responded to about situations on campus. Now, I found on Twitter a couple of Bethune-Cookman emails. I don't know if these are true or anything, but allegedly, these Bethune-Cookman students emailed and they said, "To whom it may concern, good afternoon. I am a student here at Bethune-Cookman University located at," they list the address. "The students of the university will be holding a school-wide protest due to the lack of administration-led corruption taking place at our university. Students are dealing with cafeteria mold. Students are dealing with mold in bathrooms, raw food being served in the cafeteria, removal of scholarship funds, and much more. We are tired. We are mistreated, misinformed, and manipulated. We have cried out for help in the past, and nothing has been done. Our current administration staff does not care about us. They are money hungry, controlling, and selfish people. A change has to come. We are standing behind our ex-head of football coach Ed Reed, who was forced out of his position and lied on by the university for initiating change. This is not a retaliation or just some college kids looking to cause trouble. This is a cry for help." Now, I know I probably butchered that whole statement. I apologize. It was really small and tiny and a little bit difficult to read. But if there are issues with the university past the football program, you get what I'm saying? A lot of disorganization, a lot of corruption going on. How can you ever expect to have a sustainable winning football program if you're Bethune-Cookman? Ed Reed took these issues to social media, right? But I'm trying to figure out, how could any football head coach have any success in these conditions at Bethune-Cookman? Because this isn't just one incident. Don't just use the whole hurricane fiasco for a reason for why somebody can't get a clean office. Okay, these issues have been going on for a very long time with HBCUs. And all the black community wants to do is point out excuses for why these issues can't be addressed. All JT were poorly funded. Okay, find a way around it. It's always so many excuses that, a lot of black people will make in life for why they don't reach a certain level in life. They always like to use the white man. The white man always want to hold the black man down. I don't know about a lot of you guys, but I don't live my life around excuses. I live my life trying to find solutions. Because what the hell is making excuses and complaining about my problems going to solve? At the end of the day, I got to find a roadblock. Well, there's a roadblock in my way, right? I got to find a way around it to be successful. And for HBCUs and for the black community, for us to grow as a whole, instead of making excuses, we have to find solutions and work ways around these problems. And we can't have, our administration stealing from us. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of corruption going on. You probably want to donate money. Yes, these football programs basically run on donations. If you got a lot of money and you don't mind spending a few to support the football program, you donate. But why would you donate if you can't trust the administration to properly allocate it? Not just that, some of them might just steal it and take it for themselves. Greedy people. Greed. You want to know what's funny? Ed Reed talked about greed in his rant. He talked about greed. Evil people. Yeah, Ed Reed. Yeah, but you the problem though, Ed Reed. You just came for the money. You didn't care about these kids, even though you was making what, $900,000 on the Miami Hurricanes coaching staff, as just an assistant to Mario Cristobal. You could have just stayed there, but instead you took less to come to Bethune-Cookman, with these corrupt people, but you're getting all this backlash for a couple of cuss words that you said just because you had to do something that wasn't in your job description. You should be there coaching football, not cleaning up campus. Okay? There's no reason why the campus should be dirty. Yes, you are recovering from the hurricane, but so what? You can get a couple of volunteers out there to clean up campus. If Ed Reed's doing it, why can't you do it? Why can't somebody out there have been doing it? You see the problem? You come up with excuses, and I can come up with solutions. It's not that hard. You get what I'm saying? Ed Reed being pushed out of Bethune-Cookman is really sad. And it's really disheartening. You get what I'm saying? And I had a really bad experience with the HBCU. And before you come at me saying, oh, JT, you just like Ed Reed trying to pile on HBCUs and make us look bad. Well, I'm sorry, but first impressions are everything. Okay, and Ed Reed's first impression with an HBCU wasn't great, and mine wasn't either. And there are a lot of people who've also had really bad first impressions with HBCUs. And these HBCUs don't treat their students all that well. You get what I'm saying? So tell me why, I applied for Bethune-Cookman. I got accepted. I was really grateful. I applied for pretty much any HBCU available. And I applied for FAMU. Now, I expected to go to FAMU because I had a 3.4 GPA, top 10% in my class. I had nothing but honors and dual enrollment level courses all throughout high school. So I was thinking I was going to get accepted in the FAMU, but I got declined because I didn't have the minimum SAT math score to get in. And that was cool, but I didn't even know that I got declined. I had to call up the school. My homeboy had to call up the school because he told me that I think his mom had put down a deposit for something and they didn't get a word back. So he was calling up too. He told me to call. And it turns out, unlike, these PWIs that don't give a fuck about us, right? That have the decency to at least send you a letter that you got declined. You got to call FAMU for them to tell you that you got declined. And you got to be on hold for 45 minutes in the process. And you get treated kind of rudely. But, that's not just me. Every time I see FAMU trending, it's always for, something revolving around not being great when it comes to communication. Or when I just see a HBCU trending in general, it's never for a lot of anything good. Most of the time, it's for something negative. And it's for something that can be controlled within house. But you see, a lot of people just want to keep these problems closed in. And these problems get closed in because you can keep these problems trapped, because if nobody finds out about them, it won't be a lot of backlash that you got to deal with, and you can just shut the students up. Okay, because eventually they'll graduate, they'll get the degrees, and they just won't care anymore. You get what I'm saying? But you see, when these issues get addressed and there's a lot of backlash, you see, you got to respond to it. You get what I'm saying? And then people start asking questions. Okay, and then you can't keep anything in house anymore because all these questions start spreading and spreading, and eventually you got to start addressing these questions. And then eventually you got to start looking at yourself in the mirror, and you got to start asking yourself, what do we have to do to change? What could we have done to go about this situation better, instead of victimizing ourselves and just pointing the finger? Well, we're underfunded. We don't get this. We don't get that. We don't get this. We don't get that. There are certain things that you don't need money to have. You don't need money to have stability. You don't need money to have a good attitude. You don't need money to give a guy a clean office. Well, you need $20 to give a guy a clean office. You feel me? Like, there's so many excuses that people make for HBCUs. It's just like, you should come to a HBCU and be grateful to be at an HBCU because it's an HBCU. But that means you should tolerate bullshit? You get what I'm saying? That's not fair to the students. You get what I'm saying? Shit, I would love to be at FAMU. You get what I'm saying? But I'm at FAU. I'm at a PWI, a school that was willing to take me with a 10-10 SAT score, a 3.4 GPA coming out of high school. You get what I'm saying? At least I felt welcome. There's a lot of hostility when it comes to the people up front and these management positions. And it starts from the people up front. And these HBCUs, they're not well organized. PWIs are well organized. And I hate to keep piling on, but you see, there's a lot of problems. But you know, you're just gonna keep saying in the comment section, "Oh, you just trying to pile on, JT," and you're just gonna counteract that with all the great stuff about HBCUs, or you're probably gonna come at me and say, "Oh, you just mad because you ain't going to a HBCU." Like at the end of the day, you're still the problem because you're not addressing these issues, and that's how you end up having these situations like Ed Reed. These issues at Bethune-Cookman have been going on probably for years. Okay? Yes, Ed Reed understood the situation that he was walking into. But nobody expects to be walking into a dirty office. Nobody expects to not be treated with common decency. You know, Ed Reed should have been treated like he was one of us. He should have been welcomed with a clean office, with a lot of hugs. People should have been grateful that Ed Reed took the Bethune-Cookman coaching job. And Ed Reed was grateful to be the head coach of Bethune-Cookman. He could have made way more money staying at Miami. You get what I'm saying? But he did it because he loved the kids. And I believe it. And if you don't believe it, then I don't know what to tell you. You get what I'm saying? Y'all try to villainize Deion Sanders. It's funny how, you know, we feel like we're entitled to these people because of the color of their skin, because they're one of us, but yet they should be okay with these unfair conditions. And they should just tolerate it because the white man doesn't give them this, the white man doesn't give them that. You know, these head coaches come into these positions and they got to do everything for the program, and they damn near don't get no help. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, we want these HBCUs to be like Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson, but we can't even give them, these head coaches, the same infrastructure or the same infrastructure of a Nick Saban or Dabo Swinney. You get what I'm saying? We can't give them the same alumni backing of those schools because we can't trust them with our alum dollars, because you don't know if it's going to get to the football facilities or if it's going to be supplying somebody else dinner at Ruth Chris. You get what I'm saying? And I hate to make it seem like I keep on piling on HBCUs, but Deion Sanders was right. He was right. You get what I'm saying? But you see, the problem is a lot of people just want to sweep these issues under the rug, and we just want to say we can't do anything about it because we don't get no funding. So we can't find no solution, so we're just stuck. You get what I'm saying? So that's the problem with the black community. You get what I'm saying? And this whole issue, I think, perfectly encapsulates the main issue as the black community as a whole. And I know I'm not trying to generalize every black person like this. I'm not trying to generalize the whole community. Yes, I understand everybody's not like this, but there are a lot of people who are. And this is who this segment is dedicated to. The people who continue to ignore these issues, and they just want to reject all these problems, and they just want to talk about how great these HBCUs are. And every time somebody gives out a problem about it, they want to talk about how great the HBCU is. And then somebody gives another issue about students dealing with mold in their dorms. And then they just want to throw out statistics about the post-grad success of HBCU graduates. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like nobody wants to try to find solutions. Like I said, I'm somebody who doesn't live my life being stuck because, the white man's holding me back. You get what I'm saying? I'm not somebody who lives my life stuck because of excuses. For every excuse you make, there's always somebody who can come up with a solution. So you look at this situation with Ed Reed, the fact that, he couldn't even get a clean office. If this is happening to him, imagine how this whole university is operating. And there are a lot of great HBCUs out there that are well ran. If you're still around for this segment, you're still listening. You get what I'm saying? Like, this isn't to, villainize HBCUs, but there are a lot of people who just ignore the problems with these HBCUs, and they just talk about how great they are, but they never want to do anything about the problems. Their only response to these problems is, oh, we're not funded properly. They just come up with excuses. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like this situation with Ed Reed, I just hope brings about change to Bethune-Cookman. I was listening to a talk show on YouTube. It was a call-in show, and he had somebody calling in. It was Jeff Likely. Hopefully I pronounced that right. But he had people calling in, and it was one woman who early on, I disagreed with pretty much everything she said, but the last thing she said I agreed with. She said that Bethune-Cookman wasn't ready to hire a star or a big name like Ed Reed. And she was 100% right about that. When you look at the infrastructure, the corruption, and everything that's going on with Bethune-Cookman, they were not ready for Ed Reed. Ed Reed deserved better treatment from his people. And he would have gotten it from a PWI, even if they didn't care about him. You get what I'm saying? At least they would have gave him a clean office. You get what I'm saying? There's certain things that you don't need money to have. Just because he was one of us doesn't mean he should tolerate certain conditions. And yes, he was wrong about how he handled it. There's a reason why he apologized, and he definitely didn't handle this in the right way. You could definitely tell that he kind of wasn't ready for this job in a sense. When it comes to how he first started this, he didn't make a good impression either. And this kind of could hinder him when it comes to being a head coach in the future. But, this is an unforeseen circumstance. Nobody expects to be walking into this kind of treatment from our people. We are great people. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, we get really upset when people trash us on Twitter and when people trash HBCU culture. And yeah, we can come at people and say, man, you don't know anything about HBCU culture. You ain't go to a HBCU. Yeah, you can say that. But at the same time, look at, what you look at the material that you give them. You give them way more bad than you give them good. And anytime you see a lot of bad stuff in the headlines, that's what people run with. And way more times than not, what are the issues that you see when it comes to HBCUs? Students protesting. You got a girl taking naked pictures for her graduation photos. You get what I'm saying? HBCUs, a lot of them aren't well ran. There's a lot of disorganization. PWIs are way more organized. You look at this whole Ed Reed incident, there was a lot of wrong on both sides. But I think this whole issue just brings out a lot of problems that need to be addressed, not just within Bethune-Cookman, but in HBCUs in general, and in the black community as a whole. Okay, Ed Reed was hurt. You want to know why Ed Reed responded in that tirade, trashing the campus? Because he was responding to all the backlash from you guys who didn't really understand the real situation. Okay? The guy walked in and wasn't greeted with warmth from his people. He was greeted with kind of disrespect. I don't know about you, but Well, let me tell you guys a story, right? I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. You know, my mom and us, we moved a lot. You get what I'm saying? And we've moved to some rough neighborhoods and some really bad ones. A lot of crime-ridden neighborhoods and some really run-down homes. But at least one thing for sure, when we bought the home, you know, at least the home wasn't completely trashy. At least the people had somewhat decency to remove a little bit of the trash and whatnot. You get what I'm saying? So it's like we expected it to not be great. But just because you have low expectations for something doesn't mean you have to give something that you don't have to give. Just because you have low expectations for something doesn't mean you have to get bare minimum. You get what I'm saying? Just because you have low expectations doesn't mean you have to get no effort. You get what I'm saying? These universities, are they really putting their best foot forward and trying to go about giving these students the best HBCU experience possible? There's a lot of corruption going on, a lot of people taking things for themselves, a lot of greed. So imagine, even if you did have a great HBCU experience, you kind of got cheated a little bit because it could have been better. So you look at these emails from these Bethune-Cookman students, the fact that they're being ignored by the administration, it's just no surprise that this whole incident occurred the way that it did. And I mean, this isn't the only HBCU that this is occurring at. There are plenty other HBCUs having similar issues all the way around. So, you know, there are a lot of problems that are popping up that are being brought to a lot of people's attention that many people already knew about when it comes to HBCUs. But it's just like, you know, these issues been going on for years, and you can say, yeah, everybody's already known about this. Okay, why are these issues still going on? You get what I'm saying? Why is it that there are HBCU alums from 2008 that went to Howard University saying, oh yeah, that same thing was happening when we went there? You get what I'm saying? Just because you know something has been happening for a very long time doesn't mean you should be accustomed to something that isn't right. You get what I'm saying? These HBCUs have the potential to be great. But instead of reaching their full potentials, they have people working in the administration that are corrupt, that still you can't trust them. You get what I'm saying? You got people who have bad attitudes. You get what I'm saying? And it holds the HBCUs from reaching their full potentials because all people want to do is make excuses. You get what I'm saying? And instead of trying to figure out solutions, you just want to use the main excuse, oh, we don't get a lot of money. Okay, cool, you don't get a lot of money, but you don't need a lot of money to have stability in house. You don't need a lot of money to, you know, be able to trust people. You don't need money to be trustworthy. You get what I'm saying? You don't need money to have common decency. You don't need money to give somebody you don't need a lot of money to give somebody a clean office. That's the last time I'm going to restate that. I know y'all tired of me saying that. But I mean, HBCUs, a lot of them aren't well ran. And yeah, I know all HBCUs aren't like this. I'm going to say that for the last time because I know y'all are going to keep saying that in the comment section. But if you just keep on disregarding these problems, no change is going to occur. These students that go to these universities, these protests, these issues that have been going on, they say otherwise. You know, yeah, Bethune-Cookman wasn't ready for Ed Reed, but they should have been. They should have been ready for their own. They should have been able to embrace Ed Reed with open arms. You know, it's sad that at the end of that interview, Ed Reed was hurt. You get what I'm saying? Ed Reed was misled and deceived by his people. But HBCUs are so great though. You get what I'm saying? He should come to a HBCU and be deceived and mistreated by his people just because he's one of us though. But we should just, give him so much backlash for calling out the university. You get what I'm saying? For having certain things that should already have been taken care of. You get what I'm saying? Like, he shouldn't be out there picking up trash. You get what I'm saying? You could have been doing that. Somebody could have volunteered to do that. You could pay a couple of people off the street to do that for $20. You telling me Bethune-Cookman is so financially restricted that they can't dish out, a couple of $100 to assist in a campus-wide cleanup? What were people doing during winter break? I mean, I go to FAU. We had maintenance people here all throughout winter break cleaning up campus. Yes, the hurricane occurred a couple of months ago, but still, you should at least have had people working to ensure that the campus was clean, especially if you knew that you were going to be having Ed Reed coming. You get what I'm saying? This is how you welcome one of your people, one of our people. You get what I'm saying? You're going to welcome me to a dirty home? How am I supposed to feel about that? I'm supposed to feel happy that I got to clean my office? You get what I'm saying? Oh, but I should just be okay with not having the dirt. I should just be okay with having a dirty office because I should be grateful to be at an HBCU because I'm one of us though, right? But you don't make me feel grateful. You get what I'm saying? Because you don't make me feel wanted. Ed Reed was hurt because he didn't feel wanted. He felt disregarded. BCU hired him just for publicity. They saw what happened to Jackson State. They saw all the notoriety, all the fame that Jackson State received and the university got from hiring Deion Sanders as their head coach. And yeah, you get what I'm saying? These HBCUs, you can kind of look at it from a different perspective and say that, these HBCUs kind of feel misled and mistreated because these coaches kind of view them as stepping stones and opportunities for jobs at PWIs. But at the same time, you're not giving them the same resources to want to stay. You're not giving them the same resources as Alabama or Clemson. You get what I'm saying? And they know that these things aren't going to change because how can Deion Sanders stop corruption from the administration? You get what I'm saying? It's just like if Ed Reed can't walk into a clean office, imagine what's going on at these other HBCUs because there are plenty other situations probably going on that probably haven't been brought to light. Ed Reed was just angry enough because this was the first time he has experienced this much backlash from his community. Not only was he hurt from being mistreated and misled by Bethune-Cookman, but he was hurt because he felt like his community, his people turned on him. And all he really had was good intentions. All Ed Reed had was nothing but good intentions for Bethune-Cookman. If you think he came for money, then you're just wrong and you're just blind and you're just misled. You're one of those people who use the excuse, the white man holds me back in life. That's why I can't get to where I go. That's exactly where you are in life. That's why you're not successful, because you make excuses. You don't find solutions for your problems. You just look for somebody to blame and to point the finger at. And for the rest of the HBCUs, you can learn from this experience. You can know that next time you hire somebody who has this kind of big star power, welcome them with open arms. You get what I'm saying? Ed Reed was hurt because his own people, he felt turned his back on them. You get what I'm saying? We just feel like we're just so indebted to these coaches because we're one of us, but we still have to make them feel welcome. Did Bethune-Cookman make Ed Reed feel welcome? You're going to welcome all those recruits to a university like that? Well, they got to pick up trash? You telling me you need all that money to get a few volunteers to pick up some trash? Hell, you could have called me up. I might have did it for a couple bucks. You get what I'm saying? Like, Ed Reed was hurt. Ed Reed was mistreated. You get what I'm saying? Like, yes, he knew there were certain things that he wasn't going to have. And there are certain things that Bethune-Cookman probably promised them that they agreed upon was going to be worked upon over the next couple of years. But at the same time, it's still like spitting in the man's face. The dude shouldn't have to be picking up trash. He came there to coach football. He should be there preparing to get these recruits ready to play for Bethune-Cookman. You get what I'm saying? And you can make all these excuses all you want to, but at the end of the day, there are plenty other universities in the South Florida area that dealt with the same issues from that hurricane. And I promise you, it was nothing to have a couple of, if you from South Florida, you know there's well, I ain't going to say that, but there is nothing to have a couple of people, a couple of volunteers working over the break to clear the campus up. You get what I'm saying? Yes, Ed Reed understood that he wasn't going to be walking into top-notch facilities. He understood that there were going to be problems, but at the same time, he didn't expect certain problems, certain things that, you know, are common decency that don't require a lot of money. You get what I'm saying? Not to be there. You get what I'm saying? Ed Reed didn't expect not to feel welcome by his people. And we turned on him. Well, some of us turned on him. You get what I'm saying? And this isn't a segment to completely villainize HBCUs, but it just shows the problem that we have as a black community. You get what I'm saying? We like to villainize people when we don't really give them, you know, everything they need to be successful. We want to villainize Deion Sanders because he's at a PWI now, because he viewed Jackson State as a stepping stone when Jackson State never made itself appealing to be viewed more as a stepping stone. Because you can't even trust people with your donation dollars because they might steal it from you. You don't want to give Deion Sanders everything that you promised. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes that Deion Sanders might have did that might have been shady. And Ed Reed could have gone about the situation better. But good intentions are still good intentions. And one thing about me, I know a good intention person when I see one. I don't have to, you know, try to downplay somebody's character to make somebody else look good in a situation, especially when they obviously look like the wrong person in the situation. It kind of is the reason why this community is where we are as a whole in society. We keep going backwards. You want to know why we keep going backwards as a community? We keep going backwards as a community because we keep making excuses. You get what I'm saying? We keep wanting to use the white man's holding me back, or I don't have this, or you want to finger point and say, I'm not where I'm at because of this person and this person. You get what I'm saying? There's just so many excuses made and not a lot of solutions. You get what I'm saying? And this doesn't speak for everybody. You get what I'm saying? But you know the point I'm trying to get at. And if you think I'm trying to make everybody, if you think this video is just the trash HBCUs and the make just baseless generalizations about our people, and if you want to call me a coon or whatever, cool, you're the problem. You get what I'm saying? You're the problem because you want to deflect. You want to, instead of acknowledging problems and trying to find solutions, you just want to deflect blame, and you're the reason why HBCUs are stuck where they are. You get what I'm saying? Like I said, there are a lot of problems. There are a lot of excuses that can be made, but there are also just as many solutions that you can make for just as many excuses that you can make. Which one are you? Are you an excuse maker or are you a problem solver? You know, these PWIs, there's a reason why they're so successful. You get what I'm saying? The people up top, they're not stealing. Well, there's corruption at every PWI, but hell, they got enough money that at least when they steal, they don't make it noticeable. And at least it ain't a huge detriment. You go to a HBCU, you work at a HBCU. Why are you stealing from your people? Why are you stealing from our people? Why are you stealing from the students? Why are you holding HBCUs back? You get what I'm saying? Like, no matter what you want to say in the comment section, you can talk about how great HBCUs are all you want to. You get what I'm saying? You can talk about how great your experience at Bethune-Cookman or your HBCU experience was all you want to. But what you can't deny is that there's corruption at every level. And there's way more corruption and, you know, when it comes to HBCUs, than PWIs, in my opinion. You get what I'm saying? At least the corruption in PWI at least isn't bad to the point where they are completely disorganized and they can't give a guy a clean office. PWIs may not give a fuck about us. Shit. Colorado may not give a damn about Deion Sanders, but I guarantee you at least he had a clean office. You get what I'm saying? I guarantee you they welcomed him with open arms. They made him feel welcome. They embraced him. You get what I'm saying? And Deion Sanders in return gave it back. You want to know what's funny? When you have something good and you take care of it, you know what happens in return? That good thing, guess what it does? It takes care of you. Funny how that works. You get what I'm saying? You give Ed Reed a clean office. You get what I'm saying? You pay a couple of volunteers to clean the campus. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, recruits, you probably could give them the rundown. You get what I'm saying? Everybody, if you go to a HBCU, you're not expecting it to be top notch. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, there are certain things that you should have, you know, addressed. You get what I'm saying? There are certain things that you can tidy up about yourself. The main problems people can live with. You get what I'm saying? But issues with mold and all that other, come on, man. You can do better. You get what I'm saying? So there's a problem with people because there are issues that instead of people trying to address them, you just want to use all these excuses and you just want to use all this deflection. And this is why we have situations like Ed Reed, because these issues, they pile up years on top of years on top of years on top of years. And guess what? You wonder why Bethune-Cookman's football program hasn't done anything. You wonder why their past coach wasn't able to be successful. Hell, he might have been a bad coach, but there are probably other situations that were holding him back from being successful. And there are probably a lot of other HBCU coaches who are experiencing similar things. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, you can say not being properly funded and everybody understands that, but there are certain things that you don't need a lot of money to have. You get what I'm saying? If you were to cleaning and taking care of, you know, your campus, making your campus somewhat appealing to recruits, show that you cared. You get what I'm saying? It shows that you want Ed Reed. You want recruits. That's funny. We want to send, be honest, you really would want to send your kid to a HBCU with the way that the campus looks? Be honest. You understand that there are problems with the campus. You understand that. But be honest. You want to send your student to a campus that doesn't even have the decency to, you know, want to take care of mold problems, things that could potentially be health issues? You get what I'm saying? You want to send your kid to a campus that is dirty? You get what I'm saying? It doesn't take a lot of money to address these things. Like, yes, Everybody knows that there are going to be some run down buildings at these campuses. Nobody's expecting, a palace. People know that, but there are certain things that you can give people. You get what I'm saying? Just because people expect bare minimum, you don't have to give people bare minimum. You get what I'm saying? Just because we expect bare minimum doesn't mean we should be okay with getting bare minimum. When has that ever been acceptable? Why would you want to send your child to a university that's going to treat them like they're just money, pretty much? You get what I'm saying? You want to send your kid to a place that welcomes them and embraces them. And once again, I'm not speaking for all HBCUs. You get what I'm saying? FAMU, I think, for the most part, is pretty well ran. You get what I'm saying? But every campus has their issue. Every university has their issues. But at least I think FAMU is well ran enough that, most people have a lot of positive things to say about it. And they do a great job at responding to incidents. You get what I'm saying? And, their actions of students, you get what I'm saying, don't reflect the university. And you get what I'm saying? Like, there are probably a lot of good people working for Bethune-Cookman. There are a lot of good people working in these HBCUs. But, when there's a lot of corruption on the top level, it just gives a bad impression on the whole entire group as a whole. And this whole entire incident is just a bad representation of not just HBCU culture, but the black community. This whole Ed Reed situation not only was a L for Bethune-Cookman, but it was a L for Ed Reed. It was a L for the students, because there were a lot of students who probably were excited about Ed Reed being on their campus. You get what I'm saying? There were a lot of players who probably were excited to play, and a lot of players who were excited for the opportunity to be coached up by one of the greatest defensive players ever. You get what I'm saying? It was an L for them. It was an L for the black community. You get what I'm saying? Because now people can continue to push the narrative that HBCUs suck. You get what I'm saying? Those other people, you know what I'm talking about. Those other people can continue to trash us, and we can continue to be viewed upon and looked down upon. You get what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of money to show care. You get what I'm saying? Even if these PWIs don't care about the black coaches, at least they make it look like they care. You get what I'm saying? There are plenty other PWIs that are underfunded, that probably don't receive a lot of resources. You get what I'm saying? But at least I guarantee you their coaches aren't walking into completely dirty offices all the time. You get what I'm saying? Or at least if you're going to hire somebody like Ed Reed, I feel like you should at least clean their office. Now, if you're hiring somebody who, isn't really a big name, anything like that, okay, yeah, you still should want to clean that guy's office, but okay, cool. You get what I'm saying? You want to make the guy clean his office, cool, all right. But Ed Reed, come on, bro. This is Ed freaking Reed. You should be rolling the red carpet out for Ed Reed. You get what I'm saying? So he can do what he needs to do to bring attention to your university. That's how this is supposed to work. So you guys let me know how you guys feel about this situation, man. I can just keep going on and on and on and on about this. And I just might, because there are a lot of issues, a lot of problems that I can just keep bringing up. And you can just keep bringing up so many excuses, and I can just keep bringing you up so many solutions. And you can probably be like, well, JT, I haven't heard you bring up one solution. Yeah, because, bro, that's not my job. You people are smart. You find the solutions. You get what I'm saying? There's people who get paid to find solutions. But I don't really think it takes a lot of problem solving to, figure out how to clean somebody's office. It doesn't take a lot of problem solving to know how to be trustworthy, learn how to be more organized. Shoot, you should look at what Alabama does and try to replicate it. You might not have the same facilities, but hell, at least try to replicate their model, their mindset. You get what I'm saying? Their mentality, their approach to how they operate. Maybe us as HBCU should, I ain't going to say that because we can't operate like how PWIs operate because we don't get the same funding as them. So we can't give a guy a clean office, or we can't make sure that our students don't have mold in their dorms. You get what I'm saying? Or we got to make sure that, the food is, raw food being served in the cafeteria, removal of scholarship funds. You get what I'm saying? A lot of problems. Nobody's trying to solve them. You get what I'm saying? And this occurs everywhere. There are plenty of PWIs that you can say, JT, they have this same problem. Yes, they probably do. But at the same time, though, there are certain things that they don't have. They don't have certain disorganization things. Yeah, there are certain colleges that are more disorganized than others. But when it comes to the HBCU experience, the first two things, when it comes to HBCU, my first thing when I think of a HBCU shouldn't be party and, turning up. You get what I'm saying? The first thing should be academics. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to a prestigious university. You get what I'm saying? That's accredited. It has a lot of alumni that have been fairly successful in their field or in my field. You get what I'm saying? That I'm going to get a degree for. But you see, when all these bad stories come out, you get what I'm saying? You push these narratives on these HBCUs, and that's why people view HBCUs in a bad light. People were already viewing HBCUs bad before this situation with Ed Reed occurred. There are reasons. There are certain things that, these universities can't do. You get what I'm saying? There's only so much you can do when you're not receiving money and funding. I understand that. You get what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to reiterate is that you don't need a lot of money to have organization. You get what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of money to be trustworthy. Certain things you got to have. And for improvement and for change to happen, you got to have these things. You get what I'm saying? You got to have good leadership. There's not a lot of great leadership. You get what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, we need more people like Ed Reed and Deion Sanders in these big administration roles. You get what I'm saying? People who actually care about the HBCU communities. And while we're talking about these head coaches, you get what I'm saying? We need more leaders in these administration positions. There's only so much that these head coaches can do when they got to try to make up for everything else. You got to make up for corruption and everything else. Like, how many of you guys seen The Dark Knight? You remember the Dark Knight trilogy with Christopher Nolan? And it had who was playing Bruce Wayne? I forgot who it was who was playing Bruce Wayne. But you look at the whole entire theme of that trilogy, right? It was about Bruce Wayne coming back as Batman and trying to fight off all of the corruption in Gotham City, right? But at the end of the day, guess what? In The Dark Knight Rises, Bruce Wayne still is fighting corruption and nothing still has changed. You get what I'm saying? And guess what? There's only so much one person can do. You get what I'm saying? When you're trying to make up for corruption and you're trying to make up for things that's falling apart in all areas, you need leadership on all levels. You get what I'm saying? You need commitment. And when you look at, Deion Sanders and Jackson State, and you look at this situation with Bethune-Cookman and whatnot, they all have a lot of overlaying themes. And if these situations are occurring at these HBCUs, I'm pretty sure they're occurring at every HBCU. And if you're going to deny that, then you're just being naive. So when you look at these situations that these coaches are walking into, yes, Ed Reed knows that he's going to a university that isn't well funded, that has a lot of issues with the buildings. You get what I'm saying? He knew that he was walking into a situation that wasn't going to be great, or at least he should have known. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, there are certain things that you expect. You expect common decency. You get what I'm saying? Ed Reed has a right to feel disrespected. You get what I'm saying? You can say, well, this was your first opportunity. So what if it was his first opportunity? So what? You get what I'm saying? Show some respect. This is still Ed freaking Reed. You get what I'm saying? You don't just say, oh, you should be grateful. You get what I'm saying? So just because your office dirty, who cares? What? You're crazy, fam. This is Ed freaking Reed. This is one of the greatest football players ever, bruh. You show this man some respect. You get what I'm saying? And you telling me you Bethune-Cookman. You said the whole entire interview process, oh yeah, bro, like, we're gonna hire you, we're gonna agree on this salary, and you couldn't take a little bit of time knowing that you was going to go after a guy like Ed Reed, or just any coach, just to clear the office. You get what I'm saying? Like, you just letting all of the previous head coach garbage pile up in there. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on. This is Ed Reed. You roll out the carpet for Ed Reed. You should be rolling out the carpet for any head coach that you hired to make them feel welcome. But this is Ed Reed. You get what I'm saying? There's no excuses for what Ed Reed walked into. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. You get what I'm saying? Yes, Ed Reed knew that he was walking in to a school that was trying to recover from the hurricane and whatnot. But guess what? I go to FAU. You get what I'm saying? We had people here over the break that were cleaning up campus. You get what I'm saying? Why didn't Bethune-Cookman have people over the break, a couple of volunteers, cleaning up campus? There's no excuse. No excuse, bruh. You could at least had a couple of people out there that you paid $20 to, maybe buy them a sandwich to clean up, a couple of chip bags and, some garbage bags and that's thrown over the campus and stuff like that, bro. There's certain things about that campus that could have been way better. Okay? And if you're just going to deflect that and just keep using excuses, you're the problem. You are the problem. And this is why black people, well, I ain't gonna say that, why HBCUs in the black community can't have a lot of things nice for long. You get what I'm saying? This is why HBCUs can't keep a Deion Sanders. This is why you can't get big names, coaches that want to take these jobs. This is why you can't become on Alabama. Because you can't even do the small things. You get what I'm saying? You can't even make somebody feel welcomed. Because how can you make yourself feel welcome? How can you welcome a football coach when you don't even make your students feel welcome? You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason why these students should be having to continue to complain about mold. Raw food being served in the cafeteria, the removal of scholarship funds. If this is happening to students, of course, this was going to happen to Ed Reed. And this isn't just the only HBCU that these problems occur at. These are occurring at other HBCUs. And yes, you can say these occur at PWIs, but it's just that, I go to FAU. You get what I'm saying? If I'm getting mistreated, you get what I'm saying? Okay, cool. I should expect that. I'm at a PWI. But if I'm, JT Sports, me being black, if I'm attending a HBCU, I don't expect to be ignored and mistreated by my people. You see the problem? If I go to a PWI, I should expect to be mistreated. You get what I'm saying? I should expect not to be welcomed. But if I go to a HBCU, I should not expect to be mistreated or felt like I've been misled or deceived by my people. You get what I'm saying? I should go to a HBCU and feel welcome. I should be going to a HBCU because of the experience. You get what I'm saying? Not just because of the time I'm going to have partying and whatnot. You get what I'm saying? And even though there are a lot of successful graduates of HBCUs, there's also really high dropout rates for a reason. A lot of people don't finish. And the reason why a lot of these students don't finish is because, they don't have the funds, because, they can't get their scholarship money. Their financial aid doesn't hit when it's supposed to. You get what I'm saying? You don't make these students have a good experience more times than not when it comes to dealing with HBCUs. And it's just like there's certain things that you just don't expect when you're going to a HBCU and you're trying to sell people on, the culture of being amongst your people. If I'm going to a HBCU, the experience when it comes to interacting with the people and, the front office and whatnot should be friendly. You get what I'm saying? It should be kind. It should be warm. You get what I'm saying? So if these students have all these complaints, you get what I'm saying? There's no surprise that these kind of are the same complaints that Ed Reed has. You get what I'm saying? Ed Reed had every right to be mad and frustrated. Now, should he have, aired that out, on social media the way that he did? No, I still agree that he should have took it to social media, but he didn't have to, go about it that way. But, it's just like for Bethune-Cookman, this just isn't a good look. It's a bad look on Ed Reed to an extent, but Ed Reed is Ed Reed. I'm pretty sure Miami and Mario Cristobal are going to have no problem welcoming him back to Miami. And I'm pretty sure Ed Reed could get a job on anybody's coaching staff that he wants to. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure FAMU will have no problem hiring Ed Reed on their coaching staff. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure, Alabama, Nick Saban, if Ed Reed said, hey, Nick, I want to work for you, he'll have no problem hiring Ed Reed. You get what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people who have too much bad to say about Ed Reed, but there are a lot of people who got a lot of bad things to say about Bethune-Cookman. You get what I'm saying? Prior to this situation. So it's just like all these issues overlay. And for all you people who are trying to say, y'all, football doesn't overlap the issues on campus, yes, it does. You get what I'm saying? It all starts up top. Everything, for things to be successful, you need a core. You get what I'm saying? You need something that gels everything together. You need something that makes it all work. You get what I'm saying? And you got to have a coach that's able to manage different personalities. You got to have a coach who's able to manage boosters, and you got to have a coach who's able to handle criticism better. Ed Reed, he responded that way because he wasn't used to that kind of criticism. This guy has been welcomed and loved everywhere he's been. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there's not too many people who, since Ed Reed has retired, have delivered a lot of bashful tweets his way. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Ed Reed waking up and getting so much backlash and reading so many articles about him, trying to, talk down on him and whatnot, hurt him. You get what I'm saying? So that all was just him being frustrated with, the backlash that he was receiving, because all he really has is good intentions, and you got people out here try to villainize him when all he really wants to do is try to help the HBCUs by bringing in recruits. You get what I'm saying? But you want to welcome recruits into a dirty campus also, but your excuse is, oh, we're underfunded. Okay, so you couldn't find a way? But it's no surprise, because these students at Bethune-Cookman are complaining about raw food being served in the cafeteria and the removal of scholarship funds, though. Same thing happens at North Carolina A&T. Same thing happened at almost every HBCU. And once again, I understand that this kind of stuff occurs at every university. But it's just that when you're trying to sell people on culture and being embraced amongst their people, you expect better. You can't sell somebody something and then not deliver. Because then, what does that make you? That makes you a liar. Then people come out and make articles about you, and then people continue to look down upon HBCUs and continue to run with the narrative that HBCUs suck. But you don't really give them too much great material in situations like this to say HBCUs are great. More times than not, HBCUs come out looking really bad in these situations. You get what I'm saying? And they shouldn't, because HBCUs are great. But you know, some of our people just think that, you know, it's okay to tolerate, you know, people stealing, you know, disorganization. But we expect Deion Sanders to make Jackson State Alabama, though. There's only so much one person can do. Ed Reed, if you are somebody who says, yeah, Ed Reed wasn't ready for this job, you're right. But to be honest, who the fuck is ready for this job? Honestly, there's so much right now that you have to overcome at Bethune-Cookman. You need way stronger leadership. Not trying to say Ed Reed isn't a great leader, but for this situation, you definitely needed somebody who was a little bit more composed and somebody who, you get what I'm saying, maybe wasn't as a big name as Ed Reed. Because, you know, somebody who made Jack Jones, you get what I'm saying, the random head coach who you hired from Ball So Hard University, who worked his way up as an offensive coordinator for a couple of years, you know, grinded his way throughout the coaching ranks. He's been being a coach for like over 20 years. Of course, he may be a little bit more willing to put up with situations like this because he grinded his whole entire life for this. And you may feel like Ed Reed, he didn't appreciate it. Yeah. But at the same time, though, this is Ed Reed, though. You get what I'm saying? This isn't anybody. You get what I'm saying? Like that other random guy who you hired from Ball So Hard University, you can give him a dirty office and he can say, okay, you gave me a dirty office. That kind of was lame, but all right. You get what I'm saying? I'm still happy for the opportunity. But, you know, Ed Reed, you get what I'm saying? He took this job and he was like, you know, I'm ready to work for these kids. But at the same time, like, you're not going to disrespect me. You get what I'm saying? You're not just going to give me a dirty office. You're not just going to make me have to clean up campus trash. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I'm Ed freaking Reed. You get what I'm saying? I'm Ed Reed. I should be getting red carpet treatment. I should be treated like a celebrity. I should have somebody escorting me around campus. I should have security anywhere I go on campus. You get what I'm saying? A random coach who you hire from Ball So Hard University, that's cool. You get what I'm saying? It's not okay, but you get what I'm saying? That's cool because he's excited for the opportunity because he grinded so hard. And yeah, you can say that's the pro and con of Ed Reed. Maybe he wasn't appreciative enough. You get what I'm saying? But it's just like at the same time, it's like, you know, I don't think anybody should just be okay with these conditions and, you know, things not being prepared. You get what I'm saying? Like Ed Reed, when you hire somebody of this magnitude, you should have your campus in way better shape than what they had. And there should be no excuses about it. You get what I'm saying? A guy like Ed Reed, you shouldn't tell Ed Reed, oh yeah, we're hiring you. We're still recovering from, you know, the hurricane that happened a couple of months ago. So you're going to have to clean up the garbage. You get what I'm saying? You should be saying, hey, Like the campus is a little messy right now. You may have seen a couple of pictures on Twitter or whatnot, but don't worry about it. We're going to have it a little cleaned up. There may be a couple of issues, but we're going to continue to fix that. You get what I'm saying? But we just want to make excuses though. We just want to say, oh, we're not funded enough, so we can't afford to pay a couple of volunteers $20 to clean the campus up. We got to make our football players do it. Our football players are janitors now? Hey, Bethune-Cookman. They hired Bethune-Cookman. They hired, or they wanted to hire, this all-time great safety, right? Ed Reed, to not only be their football coach, but they wanted him to be their janitor. Hey, man, if you feel like Ed Reed had no right to respond the way he did, I feel like a lot of people who are like criticizing Ed Reed for how he responded truly don't understand who Ed Reed is. You get what I'm saying? Like, this isn't anybody. And the people that's really speaking out on this, like, it kind of blows me. Because this is Ed freaking Reed. This is somebody who is respected really highly in the football world. And you just want to welcome this dude to a dirty campus and just say accept it. You got to accept it because you're one of us. Does that make any sense? You get what I'm saying? Like, and we just want to throw out, you got to accept it because you're one of us and we're underfunded and there's nothing we can do about it. So you got to accept it. And yeah, they do have to accept it. You're right. But at the same time, should they want to accept walking into, situations like this? Who expects these kind of situations? Nobody. Because you can say Ed Reed handled this situation unprofessionally, and yes, he did. But Bethune-Cookman, they were unprofessional too. If I buy a house, right, in the worst neighborhood of town, I understand that the house is going to have problems. You get what I'm saying? I know that there's probably going to be some rodents that you didn't tell me about. There's going to be a couple of leaks in the roof that you left out in the description. But at the same time, I expect the house to be clear of the previous people's belongings. You get what I'm saying? I should be cleaning the house and sprucing it up for me to move in. I shouldn't be cleaning the house to just, be removing other people's stuff. You should have that taken care of. You get what I'm saying? Like, at least just because you're giving me bare minimum doesn't mean you have to give me bare minimum. You get what I'm saying? So Ed Reed should have not been getting bare minimum. You get what I'm saying? Like, if anything, the dude should have been getting presidential treatment. There's a reason why, we can't have anything nice. Yeah, you're right, because we don't know how to take care of it. We don't know how to keep anything nice. Regardless of what you say about these coaches viewing these HBCUs as stepping stones, like I said earlier. Make yourself more appealing. Be more than a stepping stone. Be viewed as opportunity for somebody like a Deion Sanders or somebody like a Ed Reed. Be viewed as a school that can be built upon something. You get what I'm saying? Like Deion Sanders and Ed Reed, these caliber coaches, you're going to have a hard time keeping when you're holding them down because you're handcuffing them with limited resources. And guess what? Even if you do give them everything that they want and then some, they still might leave because guess what? That's just the nature of the sport. That's just college football, people. Do you not see it happening at the PWIs? They portray their own kind too in a different way. You get what I'm saying? They leave for different schools out of nowhere. You get what I'm saying? They say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be here for a long time," and then a year later, they're at a different school. You get what I'm saying? They probably texting them on the group me app or whatever they use for the team group chats, the band app, and saying, "Hey, I love you guys, blah, 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 blah. I'm out." So they do it too. That is just college football. You get what I'm saying? The thing is making sure that you have stability and that you maintain stability on a university level, so you can give your next head coach the proper resources to be successful. And even if you do have a bad head coach, you don't want the reason for him being bad because you handcuffed him. You want the reason for him being bad strictly because he couldn't execute on the field. You shouldn't let outside problems, you get what I'm saying, affect the sauce. You get what I'm saying? Like, when you have university problems and you have students that are unsatisfied, these players, they live in similar conditions, don't they? They're students too, aren't they? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, how are you supposed to get the best performance from your athletes in these kind of conditions? You get what I'm saying? Like, for a head coach to win at Bethune-Cookman, the university has to look at themselves in the mirror and they have to do better. They have to try to implement change. And instead of, throwing out excuses, at the end of the day, nobody wants to hear excuses. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still have to make this job attractive for the next head coach. And yeah, there are going to be head coaches who are going to want to coach at this job. You want to know why? Because for all you guys saying, well, Deion Sanders and Ed Reed only viewed HBCUs as resume builders, guess what? The only reason why people would want to take this job at Bethune-Cookman would be because of a resume booster, because they also want to work at an HBCU. You get what I'm saying? It's like, why would somebody want to stay long term at conditions like this? You get what I'm saying? Versus if you're trying to improve, you give yourself a better chance of maintaining these kind of coaches, or just any coach. You get what I'm saying? Because you make it kind of feel like a family. You get what I'm saying? Deion Sanders, if you guys watch Deion Sanders, he's always big on family. He's always big on building a family atmosphere. You get what I'm saying? It's always warm hugs and vibes with Deion Sanders when you first meet him. You get what I'm saying? He always greets you with that white smile, them big white teeth. You get what I'm saying? Those big hands and a big hug. You get what I'm saying? However, it's just like, even if you want to say, well, there are things shady about Deion Sanders regardless, you get what I'm saying? Like, he makes you feel at home. He makes you feel welcome. You get what I'm saying? Like, these coaches at these HBCUs shouldn't be the only thing attracting these players. You get what I'm saying? You also have to make the university somewhat appealing. And yeah, there are players who are going to go because they love the HBCU experience. They love the females there, and they may have wanted to play for that school. You're always going to have some outliers there. You may have had, a player who had a family member who used to attend that university, or maybe you had a player whose dad used to play on the 1982 team or something like that. He was a team captain, or he was a record holder or something like that. That's cool. You're always going to have those kinds of players, but at the same time, most of the times when you're bringing in these star coaches or coaches that have these big name star power and they're recruiting these players are coming because of the coach, not because of the school. You get what I'm saying? And you can say, well, we don't want those kind of people here anyway. But at the end of the day, you need those kind of people. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you have to make those people want to stay. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, if the players commit to the coaches, it may be a problem. But at the same time, people can open up to a school. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you give somebody a good experience and, you're giving them, good cafeteria food and you're treating them properly and you're not treating them like garbage, you get what I'm saying? They, in return, may consider, you get what I'm saying, staying longer. You get what I'm saying? If you make somebody feel welcome, why would they want to leave? You ever thought about that? What are things that Jackson State could have done to make Deion Sanders want to stay longer? You get what I'm saying? What are certain things that Jackson State didn't hold up on their end of the bargain that upset Deion Sanders? He understood that there are certain things that he was going to have to overcome that he may not have ever gotten, or things that Jackson State was working on getting. But at the same time, you still have to hold up your end of the bargain. You get what I'm saying? It's like, you can't just give these coaches completely nothing. You get what I'm saying? There's only so much one man can do, and Deion Sanders said that. You're hiring these head coaches, and you want them to not only fix these football programs, but basically corruption from the administration. You get what I'm saying? Because success starts from, within, on all levels. It just doesn't stem from just football. When have you ever had, a school? Well, there have been a lot of instances of corruption and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's kept under the rug. And it's happening at PWIs because they can afford to have corruption and stuff like that on championship squads. You get what I'm saying? Because they're established and they face penalties. But more times than not, you get what I'm saying? Championship caliber coaches, or coaches that have a long sustainability of success, all have atmospheres where in the administration, they're all team oriented. Everybody has egos. You got to have a head coach who's able to work with the different personalities and egos and whatnot. But at the same time, you also can't handcuff the coach. These HBCUs, they oftentimes handcuff the coach because you want these coaches to fix all these issues, not only within the football program, but within the university, because it all stems from the university first. You get what I'm saying? If the university isn't kept up, the football team isn't going to be kept up. You get what I'm saying? Where they practice at? On campus. You get what I'm saying? Everything takes place on campus. So therefore, if the administration is effed up, how is that going to affect the football team? You get what I'm saying? It's like, one man can only do so much. Deion Sanders said that. And everything that Ed Reed reiterated, you get what I'm saying? I find it really funny that he really emphasized the corruption, right? And it's funny how these students are speaking out on the corruption within the university. You see how all this kind of intertwines? You get what I'm saying? For the people who say, oh, all this isn't related. Yes, it is. Success starts from within all levels. You get what I'm saying? You can't have dysfunction on the administration side and expect the football team to be a championship caliber football team when you don't have a championship caliber administration. This is it for this episode of the podcast. I can go on and on and on and on. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about this situation. For all you guys who've listened to the end of this, make sure that you check out the JT Sports Podcast. I appreciate you for listening to this episode. Make sure that you rate us 5 stars. We're available on all podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast from. You can find the JT Sports Podcast. Share the podcast with your friends, family members, acquaintances, wherever you get your podcast from. And I will see you guys shortly with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast.